All right, Nathan, what are we doing today?
All right, we are back on the, what are we calling this project?
I'll just call it the Turbo VY.
Yeah, right. Some Chumps Turbo E VY. We're back on Turbo VY. Unfortunately, we didn't get the parts for the Sandman, so the poor thing's rolled outside. So, what our plan for today is, we've been talking for a bit of time about this. We're going to try and get all the accessories on. We want to get all the wires back plugged in. And then, so the engine's back assembled to its previous NA state. And then we want to focus on getting our exhaust manifolds on, heat wrapped and on permanently. So we can put the turbo drain on, feed the turbo drain into the sump. We've already got whole dual and tapped, which we've got new fittings for that as well. And we're kind of looking at where we're going to place our intercooler.
Yeah.
And well, currently it's going to sit on the roof, unless we rip the AC out. So we've got all the accessories here on a tray. I ordered it off the menu. It's a main menu.
It's a burger with a lot.
It's a burger with a lot. Except I always go no tomato, otherwise known as no AC. So we're just going to chuck all this shit on because we do have a major problem with our hard line to our power steering pump is directly hitting the
turbo
manifold. So we might need to do a little bit of jiggle, wiggle on that.
Let's get into it, eh?
Let's get into it.
What do you want to do? Start plugging in stuff now, or should we just put the accessories on first and then plug?
Honestly, just go to town on the other side, I reckon. Like, just start plugging and bolting stuff on.
This turbo, look, I haven't lifted many turbos in my time, but it's a bloody heavy turbo, this thing. Oh, it weighs a ton. This is heavy too. So, someone in the comments said that a really good tip is to move this coolant sensor to the other side of the block. You can get an extension to the plugs, or I'll just extend the wiring anyway, because that's right by the turbo. And this is plastic, so it'll probably melt. So I think we'll do that. We'll swap it to the other side, and that way I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll start swapping that around if you want to start.
I'll start
setting something up.
I don't know. I'll bolt the alternator on, I guess.
Sure. Anything really. Everything gonna fit?
Yeah, there's nothing in the way on this thing.
We've really gone to town with this RTV.
Yeah, you really went above and beyond. To infinity and beyond!
I have no idea what to start with.
Oh, see, it just falls into place. What did I say?
This is the moment Nathan's been waiting for.
Oh.
I hate AC, goddamn.
So, this power steering line hitting the manifold, so what I did was I had to bend this out of the way. I tried bending it earlier and you could feel it start to kink. You know, straight away where you start to feel it's gonna kink. So I got this old pulley. I set that in there like that, and then just like gently massaged it.
Very nice.
Along here, and now I made like a nice little curve. So hopefully, when I put that in there now, it'll hug the block more and it won't hit the manifold. I'm happy with that. That's worked out really well. I'll do a little bit more and probably break it and then be cursing you off.
Yeah.
You know when you go, I should have just left that.
Yeah. Maybe twist the head on it a bit.
Yeah, well, that's an unfortunate circumstance of what has happened. Ugh. But it hasn't kinked it, so that's good. So hopefully now that, if I sit the manifold on, should now miss.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Like factory.
Factory.
But let's put some heat sleeve down, eh?
Yes, do that now.
We should probably look at the box that we have.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Oh, that's a heavy box. Alright, so obviously we're putting a big ass hairdryer on the side of this thing, and with that is going to come a lot of heat. And that heat is going to melt everything in that engine bay, because that engine bay is going to become very cramped very quickly, and as we know from the Fairlane, heat is not our friend when it comes to turbos and things being close to it. So we reached out to Raceworks, and they sent us pretty much every bit of heat protection product that they could have. All of this we bought through Tiperformance. You can get it all there. It should be up on the As Seen on Hackshop Garage page on Tiperformance if you want to have a look at it. Link in the description below. But we have a huge roll of heat-proof fiberglass sleeving, which we're going to use on that power steering line over there. That's going to be really handy.
It's heavy, isn't it?
Yeah. We have a ton of gold reflective tape. Look how much we have. But I reckon that'll get used pretty quickly, to be honest.
Yeah, I reckon.
So that's awesome. We've used that on the Fairlane before and on the GMW. And it's a really awesome product.
I actually need to do it under the bonnet of the Fairlane in that.
Yeah, well, they've got heaps there. We have some stainless locking tyres. Oh, this is what we needed.
Oh yeah, sweet.
15 metres, that should be enough, I reckon.
That should be enough.
Hopefully. Also got, more, spark plug condoms.
Oh, that's sick. I like the colour too.
Yeah, I know. The most important thing is we got Tiperformance pen and Tiperformance olive. One for you, one for me. Good catch.
I caught that. Just letting you know behind the camera, I caught that.
And another awesome thing that we got, and we need turbo beanie.
Oh, I can't wait to actually bolt turbo on.
Now hopefully I got the right size because I didn't know how to size it. There's heaps of different kinds, so I just guessed it.
Perfect.
Nailed it.
It makes it look so much bigger, the bag.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I nailed that size. Can I just say I nailed that?
You nailed it, Michael.
Thank you, I needed that. So this stuff, if you haven't seen it before, it's fiberglass heat shielding sleeve. So it's just like this silicon external with like fiberglass on the inside. So that's the stuff that's going to make you itchy. But this stuff is awesome for like running over any of like fuel lines, power steering lines, any sort of line, even wiring. You can run wiring through this as well too.
Yeah.
So because this is so close, we're going to run this over that and down it just to protect it. Now that it's going to be up against the block and everything. And yeah, so I'll slip this down, figure out how much length I need, cut it off and plummet it into the power steering line and go from there, I reckon.
Yep.
We have a lot here. This should last us at least one build. We should have this when we're doing the Fairlane.
Yeah. The Fairlane, now that we've got it, is going to cop a lot of that.
The Fairlane's going to look like it's wearing a gimp suit by the time we're done with this stuff.
Everything's pretty much bolted on now on the front. The AC is all back plumbed up. So what we are going to change is, I reckon it's honestly the most common thing to change, is this dog ugly brown thing.
Yeah.
These are like $60 or something, don't quote me on that, off eBay. They're cheap as.
They're cheap as, yeah.
And it looks 10 times better.
Yeah.
Only good thing about this is you kind of see your levels, and I'm pretty sure it's probably got a dipstick in that.
Yeah, these ones don't. They don't have a dipstick.
These ones don't. I don't know, I guess you can't really muck. Ugh. You can't really muck it up, so we are replacing it with this.
We've used this on the LSQ and the GMW now, I reckon.
But that looks heaps better.
Yep, and then we just got to plumb it in and Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle.
Mary's your aunt.
Alright, starting to look like a bit more of an engine now.
Yeah, except with those ugly coil packs.
I know.
So we have actually bought some, what do you call them? Like coil pack cover.
We bought the exact same coil pack covers the HQ had on it. We think it looked good, made the engine look a bit bigger and chunkier. It kind of hides them a bit because they are a bit ugly. But now they're all on, we're getting far ahead to the nitty gritty stuff now. So we do want to lay all the harness over. We want to drop the injectors in so we can figure out where we can now put our fuel reg.
Yep.
And we can run our line into the rail, and then we'll figure out the rest another day. Drop the radiator in, and then we can bolt exhaust on, bolt turbo on, drain, feed.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Honestly, it's going to move quickly now because doing all this stuff is quick.
Yeah.
And we have a kit. The kit bolts on.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
There's no, the only modifying part is the exhaust, I guess, but it's a kit.
Yeah,
so
exactly right.
Just keep chugging along.
Yep. All right, so I have the power steering reservoir all plumbed up and everything. I have a feeling though I'm going to have to undo it all because that turbo is going to get in the way, so we're going to have to probably take them off, heat shield them, maybe reroute them. That's going to be a bit of a pain, but it's in there for the minute. But while I've been doing this, Nathan has been working on injectors.
Yes. So I've been setting up all the injectors. They get a like a spacer each side.
Yep.
To space them out, and so they sit into the rail. What I have just been doing is just giving a light bit of Vaseline around the O-ring. Just helps it slide into place so it's not dry.
Yep.
And nick the O-ring, because they are really hard to push in.
They are. They actually take a lot of force, surprisingly.
Yeah. So just a little bit of Vaso on each end, and we should be ready to drop it in.
These will look good.
And then plug it in, and then we're on to the nitty gritty.
So what injectors did we end up getting? I forgot. They are They are Bosch 980s, which should be plenty for what we want to do on 98.
We're not touching the corn juice yet.
Daniel really wants to go corn juice, but we haven't really prepped for that. So worst case, if we have to change stuff down the track, it's just a matter of changing injectors, changing fuel pump. I think the fuel pump we actually got might service E85, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know it's E85 compatible, just whether it'll flow enough, but not only that, we also would have to look at changing the ECU as well too, which is probably the biggest hassle.
Do we?
Yeah, ECU would have to be changed.
It can't run a flex fuel?
Can't run flex fuel. We could run dedicated E85, but if this thing wants to do drag challenge, there's no chance we're going to make it.
No, we know that now. Like, for people that are thinking about trying to run it straight E85,
It's such a hassle.
it's possible, but the servos ran out of E85 because everyone was buying it.
Yeah, well, I remember when we did drag challenge, there was people that were like, we've got no fuel.
There's actually times where we had to chuck 91 in our car.
Yeah, because we couldn't get E85 at all. So
No, 98.
yeah, 98.
Yeah.
Plug it in. And then you get a hammer and just knock it in.
You just want to curve over that edge.
Yeah. Gives it a nice flow pattern. Hello.
Oh yeah, baby.
That looks good, doesn't it? You gonna drop one in?
Yeah, mate.
Oh, let's go.
Oh,
That makes all the difference.
just pop right in there. Looks good. I'm getting real keen now. We're getting close.
Yeah.
So now what we can just do is just run all this over.
Make it look real ugly.
And yeah, make it look real ugly.
Before we go any further, like bolting manifolds on everything, I need to start thinking about doing this turbo drain. So you'll remember last episode we drilled and tapped the sump so we could fit this brass fitting here, which goes on the side of the sump, and then you run this rubber hose here, which then goes to your turbo. This is your turbo drain here. That's all well and good, that works fine. But the other day, I was flicking through the Raceworks catalogue trying to find some other things for some other cars, and I came across these AN turbo drain adapters, and I was like, interesting. That would be kind of cool. So I went a little bit crazy in the catalogue and I ordered a bunch of stuff. And what I ordered was one of those turbo drain adapters.
Very nice.
You can get these in all different kinds of sizes, so they suit different turbos. So I just had to basically figure out which one fit. And I think the biggest thing that matters is obviously you got to make sure the hole is the right size here, but it's your spacing between your bolts. See, it's got an O-ring here. That bolts onto there.
Oh, very snazzy.
Like so. Snazzy. That bolts onto there like so. Then we can go to AN line and basically run black stainless -10 AN line.
Beautiful.
So that rubber hose is going to be fine. We've ran that on the Fairlane. You ran that for ages. We did end up cooking it when we were on
4 years we cooked it on the dyno.
Yeah, we cooked on the dyno, but that's probably a lot to do with the fact that we had like 30 pulls in one sitting, so it just fatigued and it hardened. So to alleviate that, being that this will be a bit of a dyno queen itself, we're going to run this stuff and just because it looks cool. If you're on the Raceworks catalogue and you see that you can do that, I'm like, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to make this up now. I'm not going to make the full lineup just yet because I've got to get the turbo in place to figure out how long I'm going to need to have it, but what I will do is
Put the bung in the sump and put the bung on the turbo.
I'll bung in the adapter in the sump, which I measured up, hopefully. Should be the same thread pitch as that. A 1/2 inch BSP, nailed it. So we can put that in and yeah, basically run AN line, which would be heaps cool. So we've just spoken about our turbo drain, how we're going to drain the oil from this thing. Now we need to figure out how we're going to put oil into this turbo, and that's done by a braided line, which comes in the kit. But the way that it tees into is it tees into where the factory oil pressure sensor would go, which is just this here, and then what it does is it gives you this T-piece here. I have this in here now because I forgot that we're teeing into this, and this is what we use to run the oil pressure gauge in this car. So we have to remove this, so we're going to lose oil pressure gauge in this thing to tee it into here. I'm going to follow the instructions and tee it into this and move this to somewhere else because that's what the instructions say, so I'm going to follow the instructions because oil pressure is a big deal. We don't really want to mess with that. There are a couple of options that I'm thinking to be able to put an oil pressure sensor into this. Can anyone tell me, can I run an oil pressure sensor in any of these or these ports here? The ports down here in the sump, they look like you can screw
the two bunged off screws into the sump?
Yeah.
Yeah, alright.
I don't know whether you can or you can't. I'm not sure. If anyone can tell me, so I know whether we can use them. But
well, that is the pickup tube that runs to the engine. So
yeah. The only other thing is I'm thinking like, geez, that's pretty tight in there. Like by the time the exhaust is in there, it might not be able to use it anyway. So
yeah.
We need to find another oil pickup on this somewhere. If anyone knows one that we can use, because I remember when we were doing the G&W, we had a whole bunch of issues trying to find where we're going to get oil pressure sensor from. And the only way we could do it is doing exactly what we did here. But now we need to run a turbo feed. We don't have that option. So if anyone knows one, let us know, because I'm trying to figure that out. Anyway, let's pull this off, and then I can put the braided line on and put this back in.
Yep. So we're switching this out for a VZ radiator. It has a radiator cap on it, so it eliminates the overflow bottle because you can't run it because it's right next to the turbo. It gets in the way, so this is VZ. So yeah, might as well drop this in now, drop the thermo fans in.
So hopefully it
Slide between.
Yeah.
Actually, hang on, maybe just go past it.
Stupid AC condenser. So see this thing here.
We're doing hack stuff.
So we're having trouble fitting this into the little slot there because the radiators are the same width as the old one was.
It's got a little bit bigger of a tank, so we're just going to take this little lip off.
Doesn't do anything by what we can see.
Yeah, take that off. It'll give us a little bit more wiggle room. So.
Part is how sharp it all is. Alright, so we made some modifications. We have pulled all the VY hoses out. We've got that like intermediate hose there that we might cut out later, or we might leave it.
We
Who
can
knows?
cut it from the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we might leave it, but we've tried to make this radiator work because it comes with VZ hoses. Hopefully they'll work.
And we've pulled it so far in and out 6 times. So hopefully this is the last.
Yep.
So we've been battling this radiator for the past like 10-15 minutes.
Yep.
And you would think that the exact same body style, the exact same car, the only thing different is it has the cap there. It seems to not be fitting in the holes, the bottom holes where it goes in, where we've got some nice rubber insulators. But it just doesn't want to line up and slide in. And we've even have to chop a bit of the rubber down because there's our power steering cooler lines we're getting in the way of the rubber. But it's just not seating. But this is a very, very, very cheap radiator.
And you can sort of tell that by the writing on top. I think this probably cost Daniel like $60 off eBay.
Yeah, and the pure point was that we could use it like to test fit it.
As you can see, it did suffer some damage in the process.
So what we're going to do is order a decent one, a GM one, or something that will fit. And then if things need to be modified from then on, we will modify, because we're not going to modify to suit a cheap radiator, because we're worried the radiator might possibly be
slightly
out a bit because it's cheap.
Because the biggest issue is the two holes at the bottom, even though one's a slotted hole and it's got a little bit of give, we're about 2 or 3 mil too wide to what it'll actually fit.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we think that could be a discrepancy in this cheap eBay radiator. So
we're just going to hold out, get a GM one. If that doesn't fit, then we'll hone out those holes a little bit so we can seat the rubbers in.
Yeah, but for now we're just going to leave it as is, because we it served its purpose of test fitting it. We know that the hoses are going to work as well too, so we should be able to just
these hoses will work.
Plumb them straight in, which will be good. So that one's going to work, so that's all good.
And the bottom one works as well.
And it gets us our cap, and then we just need to run an overflow bottle to remote overflow bottle somewhere else.
So anyway, I think we're going to stop for some food.
Yeah.
I think we've done pretty good.
Yeah, well I've got this side all buttoned up now, and just sort of ran everything so it's sort of somewhat neat. I just realised though I've got to pull it all back out again, because I've got to pull this coolant sensor out, rerun it all the way back to the other side of the motor, so I've got to pull it apart. But at least now I know that it will fit.
But after lunch, we're going to wrap the exhaust manifolds so we can finally get them on and bolt our turbo on and drain and see how it looks.
Alright, we've had some lunch. We're moving on to now.
Now I'm going to wrap the exhaust on that side while Michael does all this wiring, so I'm out of his hair.
I hope I ordered enough.
You hope you ordered enough.
Yeah, but we got a fair bit of wrapping to do.
What do I do? Just dump this whole thing in a bucket?
Well, I don't know whether we dump the whole thing. I suppose.
Alright. Sorry, Jamie.
So a trick that we've heard before is that you soak your fiberglass wrap in water before you start this job. It keeps it from sort of, well, spiking you so much, but it also makes it a little bit stretchy and a bit easier to handle. So that's what we're doing.
Gonna wrap it. So I'm gonna wrap the down tubes all first, and then I'm just gonna like wrap it around there, and then I'll wrap the big one last.
Yeah. Alright. You have fun with it. You let me know when you're ready to go. I'll start filming.
I'll let you know when I've done one. 100% that's sure.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be. I'm just gonna keep rolling over that because I can't run this down to there because I can't tie it.
I know what to do. Do this one last. Start your main log from here. Go do, and then here go across there, down, and then run all the way down.
That's a good idea.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I need to start this one because then I can go from here and go there,
Yeah.
come around the back, and then I can just work it forward.
Yep.
Yeah, that one's gonna be done last.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good work. See? Using our noodles.
Using the noodles.
How does this pole comes anyway, so. Stay in. Alright, so I've taken the, what are we doing again?
Coolant temp sensor.
The coolant temp sensor out of the wiring loom from there, and I've run it all the way out to here. It wasn't so bad, I just had to pull it past that loom there and just work my way back. It wasn't the worst job in the world, but anyone who's doing it at home, I ran it out to this last injector here, and it looks like if I just run it out the back here, I can loop it under here, and it'll reach, and then I can just plug it in there like that.
Beautiful.
And the beauty of that is there's no cutting and shutting, so I don't have to worry about changing any resistance or anything like that in any of the wiring, so everything should read correct and not mess with the ECU.
Well, we're all wrapped up. Now we're all wrapped up, ready to go. So it's got some nice covering on it now. So these can now go on permanently, so then we can bolt the turbo on and run the drain under it. Yeah, this is the exciting part.
This is the cool bit, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do this side?
I'll do that bit.
Instead of running an extractor and trying to like tie it all up, we're just going to run a standard manifold on the other side. We know it's going to fit. We can still get the starter in and out.
Yep.
And what we did just go and get was like that I don't know what it's called. I just
Ball
call
and
it a ball
cup
and
fitting.
socket.
It's a ball and socket, yeah.
We just got that welded onto some 2.5 inch tubes so that we can continue that around up to our other side. So we do have to bolt this on. These ones?
Yep, they were the ones that came in the kit. So. Tight.
Ooh. Damn.
Alright, so there's our fitting, so now we can hook our hose up to that. Now let's see all the things that it hits. Oh, actually, that's not so bad. By the time we put a beanie on that.
Plenty of room.
Alright, so we'll put the turbo feed. This is a nice little bit, isn't it?
Very snazzy.
How good does it look? There we go.
Fight like a tiger.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, that looks good.
We've always run these actually on everything we have now.
Yep.
It's a bit of a extra precaution. I mean, they don't do it standard, but they look good.
They look real tough.
So we put the little condoms over the spark plug leads.
We don't really need to in this case because they have like the
They got the
heat shielded anyway, but it just looks cool.
and it hides the ugliness.
So we have some new spark plugs to go on this thing as well too. We ended up going with some BRZ EFs. They're supposed to run a little bit
So
cooler.
they're a colder plug, yeah.
I think
so,
2 degrees colder, I think Jake said, or something
yeah,
like that.
so Jake told us to run a colder plug. And there's in the spool and boost instructions there is a gap that they say to gap them to. So
Yeah.
we might as well follow the instructions.
And they're supposed to be 0.8 mil.
0.8 is it?
Yeah, 0.8 mil. So while Nathan sorts out the spark plugs, I am going to start looking at doing this Raceworks turbo drain.
Yep.
So what you do is you get your little cutters. Jeez, it feels like a long time since we've made.
That spark plug number 1 body definitely needs it.
So this is the old one. This is the new one.
It's a new one.
This looks a bit better. So we're going to retire this. Early retirement. So this basically, I'm going to put it, so this runs underneath the turbo. Hopefully it doesn't cook it. We'll see how it goes. Worst case, we'll make a new one. And then this goes in the side of the sump.
It's stainless braid though, isn't it?
Stainless braid.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it should be okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There's not much to it. Let me try and wiggle this under here.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Because it is a bit of a tight fit. Dash 10 line is not very flexible.
I'm touching everything. Oof, lucky we did do those spark plug things.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it's going to be close.
I love how every episode we've finished up by putting turbo on and the dump pipe.
Because that's the exciting bit. It keeps you motivated, yeah?
It does keep exactly right. It does keep you.
I mean, look at it. It just looks so good.
Turbos are the best thing in the world.
Oh, they really are.
I swear to God, if turbos don't make a man happy.
Don't get me wrong. I love a supercharger. You don't even see your wrap that you did, actually.
I know.
No, but actually, you know what? It looks good because it's wrapped there.
Yeah,
Putting
yeah.
that effort
Lucky
in.
we did them.
Putting that effort in looks really good. All right. Oh, geez, that is close to the dump pipe. I thought that was going to be further away. So this is our dump. This is our turbo drain, like we were talking about, and you can see I've got it running to here at the minute. But that actually, the turbo dump pipe, I should have had that in before we started, is a lot closer than what I expected it to be. And my line is probably a little bit too long. So what I think I actually want to do is change this to maybe a 45 degrees. So it'll come out that way. And I can run more direct to the turbo under here and straight that way. So it doesn't do its little loop thing. So I'm probably going to come back and revisit this. I'm not entirely happy with that, but that's okay. You know, at least it's just changing one fitting. We can still use the line that I got here because it's actually going to be shorter than what it already is. Look, it's getting there. We're, like Nathan said before, we're sort of down to the nitty gritty now. The main stuff's done. We definitely have our plan. We know pretty much where everything's going to go now. Look, I'm happy with the idea. I'm happy with the fitting. I reckon that looks really good. Just got to adjust it a little bit. I reckon 45 will do much better, I think.
I reckon as well.
Because
it'll send it, and it won't have that little bellow there where oil could sit.
Yeah, exactly right. It'll run more straight down and out. So
Yeah.
that's okay. No biggie. I can change that easy enough. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps us up for today. That was quite exhausting, but we're wrapped in it.
You want to keep going?
I got nothing else. I can't think of anything else.
I'd rather you wrap it up.
But I feel like we've gotten somewhere with this today. Me and Nathan just saying it's looking like nearly a completed engine now. There's a lot of mess going on at the minute, especially with these coil packs and everything. There's a lot of wiring, but we're hoping with the coil pack covers that we've got coming to cover that, which will probably need a little bit of modification. It'll just neaten up the whole engine bay and it's going to look really good. But we're really happy with where we got today. Hopefully next time we get working this, we'll be stuck into fuel and little bits in there, and we won't be too far away from actually firing this thing up, or at least then moving on to its exhaust, which is the last thing that needs to happen before we can turn key and make choo-choo noises. But I hope you like this episode. If you have, please make sure to consider liking and subscribing. It really goes a long way to help the channel. If you'd like to support the channel even further, head on over to the merch store because we finally have a restock of hoodies and t-shirts. We just released some, so hopefully there's still some up there to get your hands on. That really goes a long way to helping us do what we do here and supporting the channel and continuing to fund building projects like the Sandman and all that, and this as well too. A huge thank you to Tiperformance and Raceworks for supplying all these goodies, all these heat shielding related products. As we were just talking about before, everything in this car is heat wrapped and heat shrinked and heat proofed as much as we can in this thing, because we learned a lot from the Fairlane, and that is heat is your enemy when it comes to a turbo on the side of an engine that was never meant to have a turbo. So we're just going to do everything that we can. So massive thank you for all those goodies. We've still got heaps more to go on, but that's at a later stage. Yeah, we're going to do a word of the day today. Anyone who comments below the word snazzy, did we agree on?
Yeah, you got to give us some snazz though.
Snazzy,
Like
as Nathan kept saying all day long today, is snazzy. Anyone who comments up below, we'll pick 2 people out at random and we'll send out a Hackshop Garage sticker pack. On that note, we have had a lot of scammers lately which have been posing as Hackshop Garage YouTube channel. They use our logo and they have like in the title Hackshop Garage on Telegram or anything like that. If you see that message, it is not us. Please don't follow anything like that or go over to Telegram, because that is not us. We apologize. It seems to be happening across a lot of YouTube channels at the minute, and we are trying to work at fixing it, but it's just something every time we get one account removed, another one is created. So you will only ever hear if you're a winner from Hackshop Garage YouTube channel. It is the channel that you're watching this on, so please just be aware of that. Something that I've had to address because it keeps happening and it's very unfortunate. Anyway, until we get stuck into this again, well honestly I'm hoping we get stuck into the Sandman again. Until then, we'll catch you in the next episode. Turbo for days!
You're not going turbo, are you?
You know, the comments aren't good for us. We need to experience melting plugs, you know what I mean, and learning to move things.
I know. We're getting ahead of things.
We're getting ahead of things. We need to learn all this stuff.
This is not the way we usually work. Usually we learn by our own experiences, not other people's. That's what we're here for. We make the mistakes so you don't have to.
I hate AC, goddamn.
Tell us what you really think
It's a stupid thing. No, it's not stupid.
It has its purpose.
I had the AC on in the patrol yesterday, so I actually had to go through hell and back to get the AC to work in that car. So they're not worth it. To use it 2 months of the year.
Yeah.
Because I feel like winter goes forever in this freaking country.
Yeah.
And summer lasts a week.
Yeah, I know. You blink and it's gone.
Yeah.
This would have been easy to do when the engine wasn't in the car.
Yeah. Well, now you guys know.
Yeah, do this before the engine goes in.
Brackets.
No, see, I know this because I'm an LS expert now.
Where do you think we got this radiator from? Caution has a space between the ION. if everyone knows how much Michael whinges about Fiberglass in his hands, we're going to hear about it for the rest of the day. Oh, my hand's so itchy!
I know. I'm going to wear gloves, don't worry. Yeah. It's alright, you can deal with all the fiberglass in your hands. So what's your plan with the trumpet? Do your best, heat shield the rest.
Surely there's another way to cut this so it doesn't fray.
Hit it with an open flame?
That's what I was thinking. Let's try it.
I'll try it. But it is heat proof, so.
Oh, God, we're stupid. Yeah, you'd think it's heat proof.
Is it doing
That
it?
was a nut. It didn't do a thing. That was the dumbest thing you've ever thought of.
You're making that look really difficult.
I've really chose the shit side, eh?
You chose it, that's why I was like, why did you choose that side?
What a nightmare.
This is where you tell me, I think the engine's gonna come up.
Do you want to develop that?
I nearly lost my Red Bull.